Today we're going to be doing an install into the truck. All right, so one of the key things is when we're out on the trails, we're going to want to keep communications. Not all the time are we going to have cell phone service. And to be honest with you, when you're on the road or on the trails and you want to talk to your group or your buddy, sometimes, picking up the cell phone, dialing the number, waiting for it, it takes a little bit too long. And especially when it's in an emergency or if it's something really quick, like, I don't know, maybe I got to go hit the bathroom. So, and the other thing is also picking up your cell phone, calling it while you're on the streets. In a lot of places, it's illegal. My brother was really kind enough to actually loan me his CB. So my brother's CB is actually in the truck. I don't remember the model, but it is a Cobra. I think it's a Cobra 159. Anyways, it is a ham radio, but he had it modified to actually use CB channels, which is really cool. So that is a CB that I am temporarily installing into the truck. Not a permanent solution, but a temporary solution. Now, the other thing is actually the antennas. There's a couple of ideas on where I want to place the antennas. Now, I did speak to Radio World. I went back to those awesome guys, spoke to them about what I need to do and how I need to do it. Now, again, I like the clean look of the truck. I don't really like things everywhere, and I hate wires. I absolutely hate wires all over the place. I like to try to keep it as neat as possible. With that said, as I was talking to them, I told them that I want the CB antenna mounted on the bull bar with one cable coming back into the truck, and let it be like that because I don't want everything all over the place. Now, my temporary setup that I did, it worked. As you saw in one of the videos, it was actually the hill climb. You probably noticed that I actually did have the CB working on those trips. Now, one of the things that was happening was I wasn't getting very good reception, or I wasn't even actually transmitting very good. And that was because the antenna wasn't ground. Now, again, what they were telling me, the best thing to do is to ground it on a surface, so I have to grind metals. But I told them I'm not grinding my body. I'm not grinding the bull bar because that's gonna cause it to rust. And we need to figure out another way. Now, one thing that I did mention, a lightning surge protector. Now, they said that could work, but the thing is, I need to try to keep it to as closest to the antenna as possible. Usually these are for ground stations, not necessarily a mobile station. Okay, so what a lightning surge protector is, it's this right here. So it interrupts the coax cables right here. So you put it in between, and then you add a ground wire, and you ground it to somewhere in the truck or on the ground or something to your house. Keep that lightning surge protector as close to the antenna as possible. So it's gonna probably be maybe about 2 or 3 feet, maybe 2 feet from the antenna where I'm gonna interrupt the coax cable and install this unit. But they also mentioned to me, hey Tim, we just wanna let you know that when you do that 2 or 3 feet of that coax cable between the lightning surge protector and the antenna is actually going to be considered as part of the antenna. I said, you know what, there's going to be a little bit of give and take here, especially when it comes to aesthetics. I don't want wires all over the place. This is something that I'm going to have to deal with, and that's fine with me. It really is. Another thing that I'm going to be also doing here is making my own connections. All right, so this thing is massive. Whether it's this or actually on the cable itself, I don't want to be drilling a hole this big going through my firewall. I want to try to make it as small as possible. So I will be cutting the coax cable, drilling or finding a spot to run the coax cable through the firewall, and then making my own connection. And then once the cable is ran, I am actually going to be using a double-sided hook and loop or Velcro to mount my brother's CB into the truck. Again, this is going to be a temporary thing. This is not necessarily the CB that I want or the radio that I want, but again, my brother was nice enough to lend it to me. So let's go ahead, get downstairs, and start on this. Okay, so this is the bracket that I made for the antenna, and it's going to go right behind the bull bar. It's made out of aluminum, just really simple. Went ahead, bolted to this actually spot right here. It's only one spot. I think it'll be okay. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to paint this. I don't want raw aluminum being exposed to the elements. So I bought etching primer. It's pretty much the only thing that's going to stick to aluminum. If you want to paint aluminum, you have to use an etching primer to paint it first, and then you can use whatever spray paint you want or whatever paint you want on top of the etching primer. Now, I am not going to be using this antenna. This antenna is only a 3-foot stainless steel whip antenna. What I am going to be using is my buddy actually gave me his Fire Stick fiberglass antenna. It's a 4-foot. I also bought a spring and also a quick release for the antenna. That's going to be all put over here. If I want, I can actually take the antenna off really quickly, store the antenna inside the truck, and then just use it day to day. And then after, when I'm ready to go wheeling, stick it on there. The spring's going to be there for just in case if I hit a tree or snag on some branches or something. There's going to be some play that the antenna can do, so that way it doesn't break. Thanks to the guys over at Radio World, I do have a surge protector, which is pretty much grounds the cable. Because of all the paint on the bracket, the antenna is not going to be grounded properly, and especially using if you're using a ham radio or even CB radios, you want to make sure that your CBs or your radios are, or at least the antenna is grounded. All right, so I figured that I might as well jump in here and tell you guys what I'm doing. I got quite a bit done. So I pretty much ran the coax cable, and I'm going to show you what I did. So here's the painted bracket. Remember, I used the etched primer, and then I did a whole bunch of coats of this black, brought it all the way up to the nut. I had to sand down the nut because of the chrome. To get the chrome off, tape this area here, this is for the quick release, and painted everything, including this nut over here. Went ahead, screwed on the coax end. Once I did that, I covered it with shrink tubing. So I did, what was it? I think this was a 3/4 inch shrink tubing. Shrink that. There was too much over here left over, so I pinched it, cut it, and then I used a 1/2 inch over here to seal everything all up. And then I ran the coax cable right here, right over here, just tucked it in nicely, ran it inside. As you can see, it just comes around there. All right, sorry about that. Had to switch over to this audio. The guys started working on the air compressors in the garage, and it made way too much noise. Okay, so you can see that I took the headlight out to gain access to behind the bumper, so that way I can run the cables. Okay, so over here you can see where I spliced the coax cable to introduce the surge protector, and ran this cable right here all the way up, went behind or through the grill behind the headlight, zip tied the cable down to the bottom of the air box, tucked it behind there along the side of the firewall apron, kept it really close. It's going to get into focus here, but you can see that I actually zip tied it to the hole over there. Reason why I kept it to the side of the wall is because of this right here. As the hood closes, I don't want this pitching the cable or chafing the cable. This actually goes straight down. Then ran it right in here to this area, came straight down, had to drill a hole to the side through the back from the inside actually of the footwell, so that, and put a grommet right there, ran the cable right through the grommet. I added some PL52s, that's a marine adhesive, make sure that there's no condensation or water that can get inside. Got a little messy, but all I know is that it's really sealed. Ran the cable right through. Again, I did have to cut that end piece off, so it was just raw cable. It was a lot easier to feed it through the grommet. Came out, as you can see, and now it's in the truck. It is now connected. Ran my ground wire right to this bolt on the chassis, and yeah. All right, so let's go ahead, put back this light. I already put the whip up. I'm actually getting really excited to test this out. So yeah, let's go ahead and put this back together. All right, so there you go. As you can see, the radio is mounted to the side. Well, not mounted. I used the Velcro right there. It's plugged in right here, and we are in channel 19. So let's go ahead and do a radio check and see if this thing works. All right, break 19 for a radio check. Anyone out there got their ears on? Come on back.
Visual on care over here.
All right, 10-4, have a safe journey. All right, guys, so as you can see, that is it. It works. And time to get some more fun in. All right.